एष देवो विश्वकर्मा महात्मा सदा जनानां हृदये सन्निविष्टः
पराञ्चिखानि व्यतृणत् स्वयंभूः
पराञ्चिखानि व्यतृणत् स्वयंभूः
तस्मात् परां पश्यति नान्तरात्मन्
तस्मात्
परां पश्यति नान्तरात्मन्
कश्चिद्धीरः प्रत्यगात्मानमैक्षत्
कश्चिद्धीरः प्रत्यगात्मानमैक्षत्
आवृत्तचक्षुरमृतत्वमिच्छन्
आवृत्तचक्षुरमृतत्वमिच्छन्.
Now, we should not forget the context, because the whole discussion started with Nachiketa's first question, that yeyam prete vichikitsa manushya. That many people say, when the body falls, what happens? Many people say that there is Atma still remaining. Many people say it is not. I would like to know the truth of this by remaining under your tutelage. That means it is not an answer yes and no. To understand what is yes and what is no, we have to undergo the whole pursuit to realize what is that which exists. So in reply to that, and the second question of Nachiketa was still more, it was still deeper, that if you know anything which is beyond the moral code of dharma, dharma, beyond past and future, beyond the causality, you tell me about that. That means Nachiketa had that idea that it is so, but he did not have the realization. Now in replying, after introducing in various ways through the chapters, what is it and what should be the general sadhana of the seekers, how one should always opt for the shreyas in preference to the preyas, the analyzing a situation with the viveka buddhi, how the viveka buddhi should be cultivated, and one should always remain anchored to his viveka buddhi. The viveka buddhi should win over the vishaya buddhi. All these things were discussed. Then he came to the actual pursuit, which we call actually a contemplation, jnana oriented meditational pursuit. It is not just a meditating for something, it is to get the knowledge we are meditating. In any meditation, we have to be aware of the goal of the meditation. Then only the meditation will yield the proper result. Any sadhana has to be proper. That also he mentioned, Yamaraja mentioned here, and I quoted from Kathopanishad also, that Nacha pramadat tapaso vapyalingat. Any sadhana has to be, one has to be very attentive about what I am looking for, how it has to be obtained. And also, it cannot be through any improper tapas. That we have discussed in the evening satsang also, I think last day. That what is that improper tapas? Now, after all this, when he started how to discover this truth through contemplative meditative process, through manana ho gaya pehle hi, abhi through nididhyasana. There he had mentioned the whole sequence of, we call it anuloma viloma. That is, as the gross world is appearing on the consciousness or on the Atma or on the Brahman, when we want to get back from the gross world to the Atma, we have to go the reverse way. That is, the same sequence has to be followed. That sequence was given with various upama illustrations also. After discussing all that, he said that in the last chapter, before the two Falashruti verses, that Esha sarveshu bhuteshu gudhotma na prakashate drishyate tu agriya buddhya sukshmaya sukshmadarshivihi. That although it is present in everything, everywhere, but it is not easily perceptible. Only it is perceptible by a very subtle, purified, refined intelligence. With a pure mind, free of desires, raga, dvesha, the intelligence also has to be properly refined, cultivated. We call it susamskrita. as the language is called Sanskrita, means cultured language. Like that, our mind, intelligence, everything has to be made Sanskrita, has to be cultured, refined. That is available in Kathopanishad as well as Shvetashvatara. I have explained some of the verses like that. Hridam anisha manasa vikliptaha ya etad viduhu amritaste bhavanti. It will come in Kathopanishad also. That by avikliptaha word is very important. By maturation, refinement, purification, integration of all the aspects of our personality. Hrit means the emotional aspect of our personality. Manisha, manit means the buddhi aspect of our personality. Hrida, manisha, manasa, mind. All these three aspects of the personality, as they are refined, matured, integrated. Integrated means there won't be any clash between any of these two, these three. So, by that one comes to know. Ya etad viduhu amritaste bhavanti. They become immortal, those who come to know. So it is not a knowledge that you are told and you know, or you read the Shastras and you know. The Shastras are used as instrument to undergo this refinemental process. It is like a factory. We study the Shastras constantly, regularly, repeatedly, doing manana and nididhyasana, all that thing, particularly manana, so that this refinemental process works and our personality undergoes a change. We call it, this jnana is called Kaivalya Navanita. Navanita means butter. Kaivalya means, this jnana is called Kevali Bhava, Kaivalya. That means the only one truth remains. There is nothing else. Everywhere it is the same truth, the same Atma. Why it is called Kaivalya Navanita? It is like getting butter out of buttermilk. What do? We curdle first we set the milk, curdle the milk, so that it gets set. Then we churn it. Churning, that also it has to be done in a controlled temperature. If you overheat it, then the butter will get melted. If you make it too cold, then also it will not come properly. So you have to give a proper atmosphere for curdling of the milk. And then when finally the butter comes out of a proper churning, then the butter becomes a lump which floats in the buttermilk, never getting mixed with the buttermilk anymore. Like that, when the mind is, the personality, all the aspects of the personality are integrated and we get absorbed in the truth, then even if we move into the world, in the same world, it does not get mixed with the world. That means it doesn't get the worldliness. He becomes free of the sourness of the buttermilk, the sourness of the curd. That is no more, it will no more affect it. The butter will float easily in the world, in the world where he was earlier getting mixed. So it is actually a process of culling out the essence from whatever we are seeing. We are not leaving the world, but every aspect of the world is analyzed, and we cull out the essence from it. Initially, the milk has to be settled, because sadhana cannot be done unless there is a certain discipline of the indriyas. This we have discussed earlier also. Why the curdling is important? A small initiation is given. See how it is exactly following. A small initiation, a curd is put in it. That is the initiation given by the guru or the teacher. With that, you have to get settled by removing all the disturbances that we are creating. Once it has got settled, then we churn it with the sadhana. Sadhana will involve lot of austerity, lot of other things also. It has to be heated. It cannot be very comfortable. जब मजे से रहेंगे और सब कुछ हो जाएगा, ऐसा नहीं होता है. पहले तो थोड़ा सा कष्ट उठाना पड़ता है, क्योंकि जिस मन को हम एकदम लगाम छोड़ दिए हैं, खाली विषय फील्ड में ही विचरण कर रहा है, उनको पकड़ के लाना है, सबको पकड़ के लाना है, तो उसमें तो डिसिप्लिन लाना ही है. इसीलिए सात्विका सुखा इज कॉल्ड यत् तदग्रे विषमिव परिणामे अमृतोपमम तत्सुखम सात्विकम प्रोक्तम आत्मबुद्धि प्रसादजम. सात्विका सुख 18 चैप्टर में बताया गया है कि इनिशियली इट इज विषमिव. Why Vishamiva? Because discipline is not liked by anybody. Even if we say that maintain silence here, maintain silence in the nakshatra, nobody is going to follow. They don't like the discipline. So initially it is not at all palatable. When you make the young boy or girl study, initially they will not like it. Initially you have to put some force to make them do it. Anything to get, we need discipline. And initially the discipline will be resented. That is why they are saying, yattad agre means initially, vishamiva, like almost poison, because we don't like it. Pariname amritopamam. When you have undergone the discipline, then you get the joy of it. Undergone the discipline of study, you get the joy in the world of literature. Undergone the discipline of music, you get the joy in the world of music. Undergone the discipline of sports, you become a great sportsman, enjoy the sports. Everywhere, unless you follow a certain discipline, you cannot have the sovereignty in that field. But people resent discipline. Yat tadagre vishamiva pariname amritopamam tat sukham satvikam proktam atma buddhi prasadajam. This sukha, the sattvika sukha, will always enhance your anchorage in your real identity. That is your universal soul, unaffected soul. So you will come closer and closer to that Atma Buddhi. The Atma Buddhi will start blossoming in you. That is the Sattva Guna. So finally, if you analyze, everything boils to these three Guna Tattva. That is one very important thing. The Bhagavad Gita is so practical because of this. That Viveka Buddhi we are saying. How to get Viveka Buddhi? First of all, you have to enhance your Sattvika qualities in your personality and give the leadership in the hand of the Sattva Guna. Then only the Viveka Buddhi will. So we have to refine the Rajoguna. We have to get over the Tamoguna bondages. Rajoguna bondage means always desire-motivated activity, fragmented vision. Tamoguna bondage means always under a spell of drowsiness and ajnana, whatever is not the truth. So, this has been the general discussion. So, he said that although this Atma is there in everything, in everybody, but it is not visible, only Sukshmadarshis are able to discover it and get anchored in it. Drishyate tu agraya buddhya sukshmaya sukshmadarshivihi. Now then, in the next chapter, the chapter we have started, here the main point is then, what are the obstacles on the way of having a Sukshma Buddhi? This Sukshma Buddhi is not just a sharp Buddhi in the usual objective sense, not the sharp Buddhi of a scientist also. It means a very pure Buddhi which is free of Raga Dvesha, free of Kartritva Bhoktritva. Kartritva Bhoktritva means the Buddhi always says, I have done this, I have done this, I have to do that, etc. And Bhoktritva means it always wants to enjoy the world, something from there, and I will become happy. If I get this, then I will become happy. He never becomes happy permanently, but still thinks that by getting this, I will become happy. One will never become happy until he gets back to his own identity. We have discussed all these things. Now, this chapter starts with the obstacles on this way. What are the obstacles on the way to have this kind of a Sukshma Buddhi? Now, when he is discussing the obstacles, you will find in each verse, the first line will discuss about the obstacle and second line will discuss about the way to get rid of it. This is the beautiful way of presentation in the Upanishads. We had discussed in great detail the first one. What was it? We discussed that Brahma has created, or the Creator has created, or nature has created our indriyas to be outgoing. This is the greatest obstacle. Following the indriyas, the mind also goes outward, always looking outward. Following the mind, the intelligence also is analyzing how to get any enjoyment from outward. So this outward nature of the indriyas, which we have got from birth, for which we are not responsible, this is the greatest obstacle. Why? Because the Atma cannot be seen by the indriyas. Had it been perceptible to the indriyas, it would have been very easy. No sadhana was necessary. But it cannot be perceived by indriyas. Not only that, we are always externally oriented. So where lies the redemption then? we have to look within. See, the second one is there are dhiraha, kaschit dhiraha. Some wise person wanted to get amritatva, immortality, because outside whatever we are looking for, everything is futile, everything is time limited, time barred, and everything will go. It is under the spell of janma mrityu. Janma mrityu means causality. The cause dies and the effect is born. Everything is under the ken of causality. So naturally, the indriyas will not be able to find them, and to look within, the indriyas are unaffected. We cannot see the Atma with the indriyas. But the mind and the intelligence following the indriyas, they have also developed a tendency to always look at something different from the I, different from amness. This is very important. I explained that in meditation also, that even in the last phase also, we like to see the self. See means not with the eyes, but we want to discover the self as something different from I. That is, as an object before me. I, the jnata, we want to have the self as a jnana, as a knowledge before us. It is not that kind of a knowledge at all. It is aparoksha, that when that difference is gone, when the objectivity and subjectivity are gone, then only it reveals in the aparoksha knowledge. So, there is a difficulty even when we look within. That is, the mind always tries to look for a second. So he said that kaschit dhiraha pratyag atmanam aikshata avritta chakshur amritatvam icchan. Now this avritta chakshuhu, we have explained in detail that what is the meaning of that. It is not closing the sense organs or killing them or anything of that sort. The focus has to be taken away from them, and we should not try to conceive of the self with any objective property. To be perceived by the indriyas, anything should have some objective parameters, is it not? Even to perceive by the mind or so, the thought, etc., they are having some limitation, some akara. I said akara is not always physical akara. It is sukhakara, dukkhakara. Everything has got an akara. So akara means it is an object, it is different from us. So always the tendency to look for that will be there, and which is the greatest obstacle on our path. We call it bhogecha. Bhogecha means looking for a second, which I will enjoy. That we are not able to leave that second and the multiple. Now in the second verse, he is producing the further obstacle. First obstacle is the fundamental obstacle, that we are always looking outward. The indriyas are always looking outward. And the solution lies in looking inward. Not only that, avritta chakshuhu, that is getting rid of the bhogecha or outward tendency. Parachah kamanuyanti balaha.
Parachakamanuyanti balaha.
Te mrityoryanti vitatasya pasham.
Te mrityoryanti vidatasya pasham.
Atha dhira.
Atha dhira.
Amritatvam viditva.
Amritatvam viditva.
Dhruvamadhruveshvihana prarthayante.
Dhruvamadhruveshvihana prarthayante.
Dhruvamadhruveshu.
Dhruvamadhruveshu.
Ihana prarthayante.
Ihana prarthayante.
Parachah kamanuyanti balaha.
Parachakamanuyanti balaha.
Te mrityoryanti vitatasya pasham.
Te mrityoryanti vidatasya pasham.
Atha dhira amritatvam viditva.
Atha dhira amritatvam viditva.
Dhruvamadhruveshvihana prarthayante.
Dhruvamadhruveshvihana prarthayante.
See, here also the first line is telling you the obstacle, the fault of the common people, what we feel. And the second line is saying what the dhira does. That means where lies the solution. We should be able to analyze very well. Otherwise, the Shastras will not speak to you. It will not open the knowledge, the secret to you. So the first one is what we do generally. The second one, dhira. He is again and again using the dhira. That means a wise person, what he does. We have to follow the wise person if you want the goal to be attained. He says again, parachah kaman anuyanti balaha. He said that we are like immature children, balaha. Like immature children we behave. Although we have grown in age and height and everything, in our vishaya buddhi, in our external maturity, might have become very big people in the world. But as far as this inner science is concerned, we are like balaha. Shastras will not spare word. They will always call us as martyaha. They will not call us manushyaha. Why? Martya, reminding us that you will die. You are a mortal person. Shastras will call us atmaha, who have committed suicide. Why? As long as we don't come to know of our real identity, we don't know ourselves. So have we not committed suicide? So they will straight away call us atmaha. So like balaha, like the children, immature children, parachah kaman anuyanti. We run after the external desireful objects to fulfill our desire. Now, I have analyzed so many times why they have called it balaha. Because if we analyze the whole world, getting anything from the world, any time in our known period or unknown period, has anybody got fulfilled? It's a clear answer. So if anybody has become happy, got permanently happy or fulfilled, it is not by getting anything from the world. The richest persons in the world, the most famous people in the world, you look into them, look into their life. Have they got the fulfillment? Have they become happy? Many of the richest people finally end up in prison or commit suicide or have become partially mad. Our Reader's Digest had given a big data long back in 80s. Now it is maybe a little different because the whole business has also changed. But it may come to that again when they are caught in keeping the money outside and all, and everybody is put in imprisonment. What will happen? We cannot say. The richest people, what is going to happen to them? So, te mrityorijanti vitatasya pasham. That mrityu has put his widespread net. Vitatasya, widespread net of death everywhere. Ramakrishna Dev used to give the example that when the fishermen, they put the net and the fishes inside, with the net also they hide inside the park, that is कीचड़, इंग्लिश में क्या बोलते हैं, mud ना, it is slush. They try to hide into the slush, thinking that I am very comfortable, that I will not be caught. So Ramakrishna Dev said that like that we are all thinking that everybody around is suffering or getting caught by the net of death, but we think that Beshachi, in Bengali we call it Beshachi. Beshachi means I am very comfortable, maje mein hai, very happy. So they don't see. He used to give another example of a snake has caught hold of a frog. Half of the frog the belly has already gone into the snake's mouth under the snake's bite. A fly comes and the frog takes the fly and starts eating. The half of it, the stomach is already gone, but the taste is still there. The fly comes in front and the frog in that condition also is taking the fly and eating it. Well, we can say that it is natural. The frog does not have any ego or so perhaps. So naturally, as long as it is able to eat, it is eating. But the fact is that it is like that. We don't know that what is that the Shastras are saying. But we still think that by getting this, I will become happy. There lies the problem. That happiness carrot is the main delusion. That we think by getting this, I will become happy. By getting that, I will become happy. But we don't analyze that by getting nothing, it has happened. Because initially, maybe I was happy for a few minutes or a few days, maybe maximum. Thereafter, the other desires have taken place in my mind. And that has made me unhappy. So by making any building, by marrying anybody, by having any children, great children also, we have never been happy. Initially it may give us some happiness. Thereafter, no. It is not so. But we don't analyze. That is why we are told by the Shastras as Balaha. Still we run after. But the fact is that the solution remains is not running away from ourselves, getting back to ourselves. Then you do whatever you want. You may become the king, emperor of the whole world also. But you will not possess the whole world even then. Being an emperor also, you will not possess it. And you will never think that by becoming the emperor, I will become happy. That delusion is gone. You understand? There lies the whole knowledge, wisdom. You can become anything. You may suffer or you can become the emperor of the world also. But never think that by becoming king, I will become happy. Then you become a very good king, very good emperor also, because you are not deluded. You are not going to hoard properties. You are not going to possess anything. You can leave the kingdom also anytime. That is what our Rajarshis were doing, because they had the knowledge. So this is the trouble, that we always run after things, thinking that my desire will be fulfilled. So what is the new element from the previous verse here? Kaman. Previous verse was only the fundamental mistake that our indriyas are all outgoing. They never look inside to see who am I. Here it is the indriyas are going outside for what? Because of a misunderstanding that getting something from the objective world, I will become happy. See how step by step they are taking us. So, parachah kaman, the external desires. Actually, it is not only external in the bhashya sense. It is true. But there are subtle levels also. Even when we are meditating, we are trying to look for some enjoyment or something. That is also external. External not in this sense. Not outside my body. But inside also different from me we are looking for. That is also external. Do you get my point? So, what is the way out? Way out is not to look for anything temporary. Not to look for anything which is temporary, means mrityu, that which is coming and going. Look for something permanent. That is coming in the second line. Atha dhira amritatvam viditva dhruvam adhruveshu ihana prarthayante. Dhiraha adhruveshu dhruvam amritatvam viditva. That is, in this world everything is adhruva, means everything is futile, everything is changeful. In this changeful world, they knowing that there is something called amritatva, that is not in this, but it is the whole world is appearing on that. So knowing that there is something, they don't look for anything objective in this life. Iha na prarthayante means they don't desire anything. In Ishopanishad it is there. Tena tyaktena bhunjithaha. Tena tyaktena bhunjithaha. We don't know how to do the real bhoga. Real enjoyment comes only when we renounce. We hold on to things, try to possess things. So the real enjoyment we don't get, because we get limited by holding on to. We are always afraid of losing what we like. We are always fear. We have two kinds of fear. Fear of losing what we like and fear of facing what we dislike. Even death also, because we like life, we don't want to face death. Or we have prepared a concept of death which is not likable. So we fear death because we don't want to face what we dislike. So all the fears are like that. So they don't look for anything from the world anymore, which is futile. So even when in meditation we get a joy or a bliss, as we say, it is not all. What people do is immediately, again and again, they every day look for that joy in the meditation. And they never get it, because whenever you are looking for it, you won't get it. They fail and stop meditation. But the fact is that when you got a joy in the meditation, your buddhi, that is why the buddhi is called sukshma. Buddhi should work that this is not I am looking for. I am looking for something permanent. not temporary. Whatever I got in the meditation, if that is lost when I am in wakeful, in a normal state, then that is also futile. That has a birth, that has a death. So it is only a function of a state. It is only a state dependent thing. It is under the same ken of causality, janma mrityu. I had it for some time, I can specify that time, and now I don't have it. I am looking for that only. Then again we are in the net of the janma mrityu. But this analysis people refuse to do. So they should look for something permanent, not that temporary happiness in the meditation. In Gaudapada Karika, it is said that na sukham asvayet tatra. Don't try to enjoy the sukha there, because that sukha is very much overwhelming. We have never got that sukha anywhere in the world. So when we get that sukha, we again are trapped by that sukha. So Gaudapada is saying that if you start enjoying that sukha, then you are gone. You will never reach the goal. So you should not taste that. You should be rid of the habit of tasting that sukha. So that is also there. That is also adhruva. We are looking for something dhruva which will never change. And that dhruva can only be obtained by the intelligence, ikshana. That our real identity on which the whole changeful world is appearing to be. Until we are discovering that and confident about that, it will not go. So the second line is the solution given, that we should not look for anything adhruva. See, this is how we apply. In meditation, how do we apply? We should not look for adhruva. The moment my mind is again and again, we may be deluded for a month also, that looking for that. But then it should strike the mind when you are reading the Shastras. I am still looking for something adhruva. It is not dhruva. A sadhaka's life progresses in that manner. And Shastras give you always the caution. If you have your Guru always to direct, you can ask Guru, talk to him and get that direction. If you do not have, Shastras are there to put you under caution. The cautions are there strewn over everywhere, but we miss them. If you read, it will not strike your mind. When you are practicing, then these small points will come to your notice and you have to apply them. The more you apply them, the Shastras start speaking to you. The Shastras become living. Shastras become living by your sadhana. Shastras are Shastras. Now they are only a picture of the truth, of the fire, picture of the fire. By our sadhana, the fire has to blaze forth. Then the Shastras will start speaking to us like living Guru. So the second point, the trouble is to follow the desires thinking that that will fulfill us. And what the Dhiras do, they do not look for anything adhruva in this world. They always look for the dhruva alone. Third verse. Yena rupam rasam gandham.
Yena rupam rasam gandham.
Shabdan sparshamscha maithunan.
Shabdan sparshamscha maithunan.
Etenaiva vijanati.
Etenaiva vijanati.
Kimatra parishishyate.
Kimatra parishishyate.
Etadvai tat.
Etadvai tat.
Yena rupam rasam gandham.
Yena rupam rasam gandham.
Shabdan sparshamscha maithunan.
Shabdan sparshamscha maithunan.
Etenaiva vijanati.
Etenaiva vijanati.
Kimatra parishishyate.
Kimatra parishishyate.
Etadvai tat.
Etadvai tat.
In this chapter, henceforth, most of the verses will end with etadvai tat. That is, Yamaraja is reminding Nachiketa that this is the Atma, Nachiketa, you have asked for. Etadvai tat. That this is the self you have inquired about. So he is pointing out that this is the self, this is the self, this is the self. Why? Because he wants to bring to Nachiketa's mind that finally finding out the self, discovering the self is nothing but analyzing your own personality and finally knowing your own self, I. So how will you know what is the real I? You have to segregate all the anatma elements from the atma. Anatma means whatever is revealed by the atma is anatma. Whatever is revealed by the atma is object. Atma is the subject. So all kinds of knowledge, everything, when the subject-object difference is there, atma is the subject and the other thing is the object. So how to take out all the objective elements? When we are saying I am a dukkhi, that means the dukkha which I am seeing, I am associating with myself and saying I am dukkhi. So there is a confusion there. So looking into us, we have to analyze that, well, dukkha I am knowing. I am not dukkhi. The mind is undergoing a wave which is called dukkha, and mind has undergone a wave which is called dukkha, sukha. Both are waves in the mind, and I am only observing them. I am not getting tarnished by any of them. Like that we have to, earlier I explained that it is called pravrihya. Pravrihya means just like taking out the kernel from the husk. You have to take out the kernel that I am from all the husk it is associated with. That is the process. So here he is saying that yena rupam rasam gandham shabdan sparshamscha maithunan. The 5 sense perceptions, rupa, rasa, gandha, shabda, sparsha, the 5 sense perception, along with that they have added maithunan, the sexual pleasure or the pleasure of meeting. That also he has added. He says that yena etena iva vijanati. We always get stuck to the, suppose first is rupa. We always get stuck to the rupa and try to enjoy the rupa. He says rupa is only an object formation which is revealed. You are knowing the vision, knowing the rupa only by this atma. Only by your consciousness this rupa is revealed. But your focus is on the rupa. Like that, rasam, the taste. Immediately we focus on the taste and always guided by the taste. Oh, bahut acha laga. Aur ek din khayenge. Now, we are getting caught by these small revelations, but we are missing the revealer who is revealing all these 5 sense perceptions. Even maithunan, the sexual pleasure, we are so much attached to. We get so much deluded by it. He is saying, how are you knowing it? It is only the consciousness which is revealing it, remaining common in all these sense perceptions, all the knowledges we are having. It is not only sense perceptions. Through those perceptions, we are having the knowledge of the world. So the whole world is revealed by that. So you have to take out your focus from these small fragmented things to the revealer of all those things. Etenaiva vijanati. Kimatra parishishyate. So for the Atma there is nothing remaining. The whole world, everything. It is only not just the Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Gandha. Everything we come to know only because of our consciousness. It is only revealed by our consciousness. So there is nothing other than that. There cannot be any revelation without the association of the consciousness. So change your focus from the what is revealed to the revealer. Etad vaitat. When you change it, Nachiketa, this is the Atma you are asking. And that does not undergo any change, as it is not undergoing any change by all these objective parameters. Naturally, when the body falls also it will remain. It will not go anywhere. It cannot move because it is not an object. That sloka after sloka, they are trying to correct our concept about the Atma. And through these corrections, what forms is called Atmakara Vritti. Atmakara Vritti or Brahmakara Vritti. About the Vritti in our mind of the truth. That is the concept of the truth. Finally, that also has to be dropped. But we have to create a proper Brahmakara Vritti or Atmakara Vritti to remove the ignorance of it. We have already developed enough of wrong ideas about the Atma. To deal with that, to remove that, we need this Atmakara Vritti, that culture of the Atmakara Vritti. When it removes the other wrong Vrittis, then whatever is left, that is the Atma. The revealer reveals itself. See, there is another example that the mind is like a sarovara, Manas Sarovar. you have gone to Manasarovar. But in the Manasarovar, the Kailasha will be seen only when the Sarovara is still, Shant hai. But what we are not seeing the Kailasha reflection in that, because constantly we are throwing the stones in the Sarovara. What are the stones? Stones are thrown by our Indriyas. Always the Indriyas are throwing different kind of stones, and that is creating the ripple. When the Indriyas are no longer creating the ripple, then we can clearly see what is there underneath. And once we see and we know what it is, we have to analyze it and we have to know what it is. Then even if there is ripple, we have known that underneath the ripple there is such a vast depth of water. So although surface ripples will be there, you will not be disturbed by them anymore. That is how you will interact in the world with very large waves also, which earlier you were not able to contain. Now, containing all the huge waves also, you will never get destabilized. You will remain anchored in your real identity. Swapnantam jagaritantam
Swapnantam jakaritantam
Chobhau yenanupashyati
Chobhau yenanupashyati
Mahantam vibhumatmanam
Mahantam vibhumatmanam
Matva dhiro na shochati
Matva dhiro na shochati
Swapnantam jagaritantam
Swapnantam jakaritantam
Chobhau yenanupashyati
Chobhau yenanupashyati
Mahantam vibhumatmanam
Mahantam vibhumatmanam
Matva dhiro na shochati.
Matva dhiro na shochati.
See, it is so beautiful. He has now consolidated the idea of the Atma, the revealer in us. Now what does he have to do? He has to now tell us about the real dimension of this Atma, that small Atma. Now so far whatever analysis we have done, that it is in our consciousness which is revealing. Now what he is trying to do is that expand that consciousness. It is not your consciousness. Your body, mind, personality is also part of the world. This is the consciousness in which the whole universe is appearing to be. So you have to know that the Jiva in you, the Atma in you, which you have discovered now, that it is not tainted by anything. It is not affected by anything of your body or perception or anything. That understood, that you have known. But you still have the feeling that Atma is a small Atma in me and all the Atmas are different. So they are now expanding that it is not in your body, because your body, mind, personality is also part of the nature, part of the world, which the Atma is revealing. So this Atma is not contained in your body. It is the Mahantam Vibhumatmanam. It is the universal intelligence on which everything is appearing to be. You are that. Etadvaitat. You are not that small. So he says, Swapnantam jagaritantam cha ubhau yena anupashyati. That is both whatever world we are seeing in the swapna, in the dream, and whatever world we are seeing in the wakeful state also. These are the two worlds, because in the sleep, deep sleep, we don't have any world. It is no, at that time there is no signal, vacuum, nothingness. But the two worlds we are seeing is the dream world and the wakeful world. He says both these worlds are revealed by that Atma. Is it not? But still, which Atma? Your small Atma, because you are seeing the Swapna, others are not seeing that. And you are seeing the wakeful, which is different from the other people also. So it is still your small Atma, which is revealing the outer world as well as the inner world. But we have to remember that both the worlds are appearing in your consciousness. That external world also we are interacting with is really speaking the world which is appearing in our consciousness we are interacting with. Everything. Something is projected as external, something is projected as internal. But all the external, internal projections are taking place in the consciousness. Is it understood? So, swapnantam jagaritantam cha ubhau yenanu pashyati. Both are being revealed by this, be seen by this. Now, you have to know that mahantam vibhumatmanam matva dhiro na shochati. The dhiras, they find that it is not that small atma, but it is the universal intelligence, the cosmic intelligence, the mahantam vibhumatmanam. That is what we call the hiranyagarbha or Brahma. That is a Brahma as a creation, created Brahma, the Karya Brahma we call it. Whatever you may say. That he considers that his Atma in which the whole universe is appearing to be. The Dhiras, knowing that, they no longer grieve. Matva dhiro na shochati. By knowing that, by doing manana, matva means by manana, when they discovered that, then they will no longer be in grief. Now this manana will not be possible without the purity of the mind. Without the desires, this manana will not have its power. So the power of it remains in the realization. When the mind is free of the desires, then only it will become real to us. Although we may analyze various ways, do the manana, it won't produce the result until the mind is purified. So matva dhiro na shochati. How do you know that it has produced the result? You will not have grief. See how you have to understand the Shastras. You have to test yourself from the result they have said. Na shochati, there won't be any shoka, there won't be any grief. Have you overcome grief is the question. To explain it further in Chandogya, right in the beginning, they have given the story of Narada. That I have told so many times. Narada came across Sanat Kumara. And he asked Sanat Kumara that, please give me some advice. Sanat Kumara said that to give you some advice, I must know what you know. Then Narada narrates a full paragraph. All the 4 Vedas, 6 Vedangas, Bhuta Tattva, black magic, white magic, snake magic, what not, whatever is there, yoga, etc. Whatever is known in the world, everything he knew. A full paragraph he has narrated. All these things I know. But mantra videva aham asmi, natut atmavit. He himself says, but I have known only the mantras, only the vidya I have known. But I have not known myself. How does he say that I have not known the self? Because he says that I have heard that tarati shokam atmavit. A person who has known the self, his real identity, he will not have grief. But I have grief. I am always suffering from grief. Seeing the world, seeing the people, I am always having grief. So I have not overcome grief, Sanat Kumara. So I need Atma Vidya. All the Vidyas I have known. Even Atma Vidya I know, but I have not realized the truth. Because Tarati Shokam Atmavit. So here also, Mahantam Vibhum Atmanam Matva. Matva means through Manana. But we may think that then intellectual understanding is sufficient. Matva they are saying. No, but the result is there. Dhiraha na shochati. If the shoka has gone, if your depression, you are no longer depressed by anything, if you are untouched, unaffected by everything, if you do not have any clinging to anything, hatred towards anything, then fine, you have done. We have to judge ourselves by the result. Mahantam vibhum atmanam matva dhiro na shochati. Vibhum means who has become everything. Vishesha rupena bhavati. He has manifest as everything. So Hiranyagarbha or the cosmic intelligence, earlier we have studied, that has manifest as the whole world, including dream world also, everything. Whatever changes are there, it is a manifestation of him. So knowing him to be the Mahantam Vibhum, he no longer has grief. Then the next verse. Yaimam madhvadam veda
Yaimam madhvadam veda
Atmanam jivamantikat
Atmanam jivamantikat
Ishanam bhutabhavyasya
Ishanam bhudabhavyasya
न ततो विजुगुप्सते
न ततो विजुगुप्सते
एतद्वै तत्
एतद्वै तत्
य इमं मध्वदं वेद
य इमं मध्वदं वेद
आत्मानं जीवमन्तिकात्
आत्मानं जीवमन्तिकात्
ईशानं भूतभव्यस्य
ईशानं भूतभव्यस्य
न ततो विजुगुप्सते
न ततो विजुगुप्सते
एतद्वै तत्
एतद्वै तत्
See, earlier he said na shochati, he will not have grief. Here he has said na tato vijugupsate. Like that, Upanishads add words like that. Earlier it was grief. That is only one aspect of her personality. Now he is pointing out some other aspects of her personality, particularly jugupsa. It has various meanings. One very apt meaning for the sadhakas, it comes from gopayatum ichha. That means jugupsa means gopayatum ichha. That means to hide. Gopayatum means gopan karne ki ichha. That means to hide. That means generally if you look into our personality, you will find there is always a hiding tendency working. Is it not? Everybody has it. Why? Because we have created a false ego about ourselves. We don't want to be known as I am. But will it not prevent me also to know what I am really? So this is the trouble of the ego. This is called jugupsa, that is hiding tendency. This meaning is very applicable in this case. There are other meanings. Hatred, he does not hate anybody. Another meaning is he doesn't want to protect himself, raksha. All these meanings are there, all of them are meaningful in this case. But we would like to take up that is the most striking meaning for the sadhakas, that he no longer wants to hide. Because he has identified himself with the whole world. Why should he hide anymore? And he knows that everybody has some plus, some minus, etc. His way is to get rid of the false ego. So he has to become transparent. This transparency is a great virtue for a seeker. He will not understand. Even if a criminal comes, if the the teacher finds that he is a transparent person, he will be all out for him. Because he can easily give him the knowledge and the person can receive it. But it is our opacity, that the cover we have brought in. In some cases we find that however much you may say, the words are simply going and knocking and coming back like boomerang. That is, we are not able to penetrate their opaque wall that they have created by their false image about themselves, by their false ego, ahankara. We will not be able to penetrate. They are so opaque. They are not saying anything, but it's absolutely opaque. So we find that we cannot do anything there. What is the point in talking too much? We will tell them something. If it works, it works. But we cannot go to a further level or work on that personality so that the personality blossoms forth. So transparency is a great virtue of a seeker. That is why my Baba told me, and I also always advise people to write diary. Because it's not easy to write a diary. When you are writing a diary, you have to write truthfully. Writing a diary might be easy, but the writing a diary truthfully is not easy. Although you are not showing it to anybody. Just opening, if you confess your troubles in the diary, if you write down that I thought like this today or I did like this, etc., if you can write out, that itself is 50% purity will come through that. You understand? It's a great sadhana. All of us had practiced at one time, writing diary almost every day before going to sleep, that what has happened, what have been done, etc. And by writing openly, you will find that you have become free of the kalmasha, free of the papa, free of the opacity that we are suffering from. So just by the sadhana of writing a truthful diary, we get so much of purity we can gain. But we have to write it truthfully. It will be further enhanced when you are able to show it to your guru. Suppose you have written and you are presenting after some time, please see if you have time. can tell me where am I going wrong. अगर वो बोलते हैं ना तो तब वो गलत गलत लिखते हैं, सोचते हैं कि वो प्रेजेंट करने से गुरु हमारे प्रति बहुत प्रसन्न होंगे और हमारे ऊपर बहुत बड़ा आइडिया बन जाएगा. You know, people don't disclose their defects because they think that Guru will devalue you. But the Guru is the last person to devalue anybody. He knows whatever is there, but just by seeing your face, he knows. He may not know the details. He may not know what are the every detail of it. But the overall personality is coming from the face. He knows it. What are you hiding there? And by presenting yourself wrongly to the Guru, you will get valued by the Guru. By that, what do we gain? But these falsehoods are there in most of the seekers. They suffer from all these things. They don't want to disclose their real identity, even before the teacher. Although the teacher gives all the confidence, and also the teacher will not be able to confide everything to the disciple unless the disciple gives him that confidence. If the disciple is transparent, to him the teacher will say everything. About himself also he will disclose all whatever plus and minus he had. He cannot disclose to everybody because they will not understand. They will devalue, they will distort it. So this jugupsa, it's a very important word. Tato na vijugupsate. Na tato vijugupsate. He no longer hides. Who? Ya imam madhvadam veda.
Veda
Atmanam jivamantikat.
Atmanam jivamantikat.
Ishanam bhutabhavyasya.
Ishanam bhutabhavyasya.
Natato vijugupsate.
Natato vijugupsate.
Etadvai tat.
Etadvai tat.
So more and more, etadvai tat means this is the soul, Nachiketa, you have asked for. So more and more we come closer to the soul. These virtues, these parameters, these qualities will blossom in us. We will become more and more transparent. We will become more and more free of grief, unaffected. Ya imam madhvadam, madhu adam madhvadam. That means madhu generally say the karma phala. Because why they are calling it madhu? See the greatness of the Shastras. Madhu is honey. Is it not so? When we are doing some karma, we are always doing motivated by the desire. So thinking what? Remember my word, the carrot of happiness, that by doing it, the result I will become happy. I will get the madhu. I will get the honey. So karma phala is like attractive like honey. So we are always running after the honey. And our Atma, generally we consider to be madhvadam. That means who is eating the fruits of all our karma. That is why the transmigratory soul, we have that small soul. We think that all the papa and punya is collected there. According to that, it is going and taking birth and all. That means that Atma is tainted by the papa and punya karma. He says it is not so. What we are thinking that it is eating the karma phalas, it is getting tainted by whatever we are doing, the result of our work. It is getting affected by that. This is the Atma we know of. When we come to know that Atma as the Ishanam Bhuta Bhavyasya. Second line. Ishanam Bhuta Bhavyasya. Bhuta means past and Bhavya means future. When we come to know that the small Atma, which we think that it is happy, it is depressed, it is dukhi, it is sukhi and all that, it is getting affected, it is angry, it is morose, whatever. We are thinking that the Atma is getting affected by all our work. Ya imam madhvadam atmanam ishanam bhuta bhavyasya veda iti veda. When we understand that it is not like that. It is the controller of the entire time and space and whatnot, the whole universe, the whole objectude, it is under his control. It is the Ishvara. Ishanam bhuta bhavyasya. When we come to know that, then tato na vijugupsate. Then where will you hide what? You have become universal. There is no question of hiding yourself anymore. Now there is one more word here, jivam antikat. Antikat means close to that. This Atma which we are knowing, The real Atma is actually that. It is close to that, like the two birds example. The one sitting on the branch of the top of the tree, another sitting on the branch, and it looks at that. Finally, the two get fused. Actually, there is no difference. With the association of the body-mind complex, we are thinking that it is a different Atma. So when we come to know this as Ishanam Bhutabhavyasa, Jivam Antikat, that is the aparoksha, that knowing him in the closest quarter as the Swaswarupa, not closest quarter, but as the Swaswarupa, as my own identity. When this Madhvadam Atma that we are thinking, the small, the puny Atma, which is always getting affected, tainted by whatever is happening in the world, whatever I am doing and not doing, when I come to know that that is the one which in reality is the Ishvara of the whole universe of time and space and all. And I know it as an aparoksha experience, that is as myself. Then you become the Hiranyagarbha there. You experience the Hiranyagarbha there. Because that Bhuta Bhavya and all that there, we are calling it Hiranyagarbha. When that is not there, you consider it to be the Purusha, the ultimate. This I am not going into detail because I have in great detail explained all that. The ultimately is the Shanta Purusha. That is, there is no Brahma, nothing. It is beyond all creation, beyond causality. Here you are expanding yourself. As I said initially, you are dissociating all the objective, all the sensory qualities and perceptions from the Atma. That you did. You got back your consciousness as a contained in your body. Now through these verses you are expanding that to the universal layer, considering my body mind personality also is a part of the nature which is appearing in the consciousness. So this consciousness is actually displaying the whole universe. Then we will take us to beyond that also, to the Purusha, where there is no universe, nothing. The whole universe may appear, may not appear. It is beyond that. Yaimam madhvadam veda,
Yaimam madhvadam veda,
Atmanam jivamantikat,
Atmanam jivamantikat,
Ishanam bhutabhavyasya,
Ishanam bhutabhavyasya,
na tato vijugupsate,
na tato vijugupsate,
etadvai tat.
etadvai tad.
Next. Yah purvam tapaso jatam,
Yah purvam tapaso jatam,
adbhyah purvamajayata,
abhyah purvamajayata,
guham pravishya tishthantam,
guham pravishya tishthantam,
yo bhutebhirvyapashyata,
yo bhuterbhivyapashyata,
etadvai tat.
etadvai tad.
Yah purvam tapaso jatam,
Yah purvam tapaso jatam,
adbhyah purvamajayata,
adbhyah purvamajayata,
guham pravishya tishthantam,
guham pravishya tishthantam,
yo bhutebhirvyapashyata,
yo bhuterbhivyapashyata,
etadvai tat.
etadvai tad.
He says that purvam tapasaha jatam, adbhyaha purvam ajayata. Adbhyaha means from water, compared to water. That there is a sequence of the various Panchabhutas appearing. That even before the water appeared, he appeared. That we have already studied. The Panchabhuta coming much later. Hiranyagarbha is the first. The cosmic intelligence is the first. So whom we are calling the Hiranyagarbha or the cosmic intelligence, that is called the Purvam Ajayata. Purvam. That means the ancient, most ancient first, as we have called him, Swayambhuhu also. Because there is no further causality. The Purusha is transcending causality. So from the gross effect we go to the subtle cause. There to further subtler cause. Going that finally we have to go beyond causality, the karanatita, that is what the Purusha or our Atma, the real Atma is. So still now here we are associating ourselves with the Mahat Tattva, the cosmic intelligence. Then finally we will go to the Karanatita Bhumi. Tapaso Jatam. He is born of the austerity. Now you have to go back to Mundakopanishad. In the beginning verses, he has written that Tapasa chiyate brahma tato annam abhijayate. The whole objectude, that objectude, mind you, that differentiated objects will come much later. The subject-object difference has come. Objectude means subject-object difference has come now. Tapasa chiyate Brahma. That is the consciousness, Supreme Brahman. As if by austerity it swells. Chiyate, there is no direct translation possible. There is no direct meaning of chiyate means it manifests. It swelled. By what? Tapasa chiyate. That is called the austerity of the ultimate truth. As if the whole world is born of austerity. So by a reverse austerity, we have to go back to the truth. Now in the next verse he says, Yas sarvajyaha sarvavit yasya jnanamayam tapaha. What is that austerity? He did not have any leg, hand or mouth or eyes or anything he did not have. Consciousness, the supreme consciousness does not have anything of the subject, of the karta or anything. Then what is that austerity? He says, Jnanamayam tapaha. Prajnanam Brahma. The ultimate level, it is the Advaya Jnana is the ultimate source or substratum. That is not a Jnana in the Jnata is knowing the Jnana. Not like that. They are the Jnata, Jnana and Jnana. All three are same. It is called Triputi Nasha. That is the Aparoksha or the Advaya Jnana. So he says that original tapas out of which the whole objectude is manifest is a tapasya in knowledge. See how it comes now close to the scientific discoveries, or one day perhaps it will be. That is how that they don't have that subjective feeling, but as if some tapasya, some movement taking place in the knowledge, that the ultimate building block is the knowledge. It's not the ordinary knowledge, but the Advaya knowledge. Which amness, which means the amness, our consciousness. There the whole world is manifest. Even in dream, that is happening. In the consciousness, the whole world is manifest. In dream, when you are seeing your office, is it that you have thought about your office and then the office came? Or you have office came and then you thought about the office? It's simultaneous. There is no time there. In dream, there is no causality. The office appears in you and the thought of office, they are together. That is how the whole world is also born, from the consciousness. In the consciousness, appearing in the consciousness. So he says that this tapaso jatam means out of this tapasya, yasya jnanamayam tapa, out of the austerity of knowledge, this Brahma is born, the first cosmic intelligence. Adbhyaha purvam ajayate. He is before all the panchabhutas. They are saying water, but water means all the panchabhutas. Guham pravishya tishtantam yo bhutevir vyapashyata. Who is residing in the guha, in the cavern. I said that guha is of two kinds. One is the hrid guha, another is the buddhi guha. Both are guha because it is not easily seen. You have to penetrate it through the emotional being. When you say I, that is the hrid guha. And when you look for I am the subject, you analyze and you go into the who is the seer of the intelligence also, it is the buddhi guha. Because through intelligence you penetrate there. The guha you are entering through intelligence. And here you are entering through your emotional I. So it is both hrid guha and buddhi guha. Guham pravishya tishtantam yo bhutevir vyapashyata. With the association of all the panchabhutas, it is sitting there. That Hiranyagarbha or the ultimate Ishvara, he is right here in our heart, in the cavern of our heart, but it is associated with the body, mind, personality, so we are not able to discern him, know him. So they are pointing out that we have to discriminate there and find out that it is the same thing who is sitting, on whom the whole universe is appearing to be. Etad vaitad. This is what, Nachiketa, your Atma, you have asked for. Ya pranena sambhavati
Nena sambhavati
aditir devatamai
Atidir devatamai
guham pravishya tishthantim
Guham pravishya tishthantim
ya bhute virvyajayata
Ya bhuter bhirvyayata
etadvai tat
Etadvai tat
ya pranena sambhavati
Ya pranena sambhavati
aditir devatamai
Aditir devatamai
guham pravishya tishthantim
Guham pravishya tishthantim
ya bhute virvyajayata
Ya bhute bhirvyajayata
etadvai tat.
Etadvai tat
See, one after another he is taking up our usual concepts and correcting them, bringing them up to that ultimate level. Now, so far he has done with the Brahma, Hiranyagarbha and objects and Panchabhutas and all. Now, what is the other deluding element? Is the huge play of energy we see in the world. That is what we consider to be the Devi, the Kali or Durga or whatever. That is the Shakti. The Purusha will not be manifest without the Shakti. And the Shakti has no existence without the Purusha. Purusha is the consciousness on which the Shakti displays it is a whole universe is a display of energy. Even the minutest particle, we may think it is a standing, but no particle can be standing. Everywhere it is change. The very basis of the universe, the objectude, is change. Without change, nothing can exist here. Do you agree? Right from the beginning, it is the energy means there is a change, there is a play going on, there is a vibration going on. So this huge display of Shakti, which we call Parashakti, I had recited the shloka from Shvetashvatara also. Asya Parashakti. The whole display of the universe is the Parashakti of the Brahman, of the consciousness. This Parashakti, again, we feel that it is somewhere in the yonder sky, like Mata sitting somewhere else. They are saying no. Why they are taking up one after another? Because some people may have a fascination for a Shakti. Some people may have fascination for Ishvara. Some people may have fascination for Yaga Jajna. That will also come. According to that, they are taking everybody to that ultimate. I say that the Shastras never reject any of her children. They have catered to everybody, whatever we are doing worship, whatever we are attracted to, our conception is limited by whatever concepts. They are taking one after another and extending it to the ultimate transcendental level. So here now after Hiranyagarbha, he has taken up the Parashakti, the Shakti, the Prakriti, which is manifesting through prana, our life forces. That is the energy we have. Without the life forces, our body will not function. So, ya pranena, that is why they have used Trilinga, Shakti. Ya pranena sambhavati, which is manifest through prana, energy. Aditi devatamai. Aditi is Triling. That is why it is. And Aditi is normally in Purana, Aditi is the mother of all the Devas. And Diti is the mother of all the Danavas. That is also there. But Aditi is the mother of all Devas. Deva means brilliance. Devatamai means all deities. Aditi Devatamai. What is Aditi? She is the embodiment of all the brilliance we see. That is energy. That's a cosmic energy, you can say. So, that energy, even you can say that the Indriyas, they are also the functioning elements in us. They are all the Devas. Each Indriya is representing one Deva. They are a manifestation of one deity. So, they are all, the prana is controlling all these indriyas. The prana, without the prana, none of the indriyas will function. Is it not so? And that is the only item which never gets tired. See, all eyes, ears, etc., you will give them some rest. Otherwise, they will not be able to function. But prana, it doesn't have any rest at all. Constantly, even when you are in deep sleep, prana is functioning. So that is the energy, the parashakti which is functioning. Guham pravishya tishthantim ya bhute vir vyajayata. That Shakti energy is right here within us, in the Hrid Guha and Buddhi Guha, in the I itself. It is a manifestation of that I. Bhute vir vyajayata. With the appearance of the Panchabhutas, this energy is coming to its display. Energy needs the matter to display itself. So along with the bhutas, Panchabhutas, it is displaying the whole tremendous energy we see in the universe. But know that it is nothing different from your I, the consciousness, right there in your Hrid Guha and Buddhi Guha. And that is what, Nachiketa, you wanted to know, your Atma. I told you, Shetashvatara, there also, te dhyana yoga anugata apashyan devatma shaktim swagunair nigudham. They took to dhyana yoga and discovered. What did they discover? Devatma shaktim. That what that real I is, that is the real brilliance, revealer of everything. That is the real Deva. Atma, that is their own Atma, not the other Atma which was becoming Dukhi and Sukhi and all. The real Atma is that. And Shaktim, that is the energy, the whole energy display right there. So here also they are integrating by shloka after shloka that it is actually Devatma Shaktim. It is the revealer consciousness, it is our I, and it is the Shakti, the whole display of the energy is coming. So it is the sustainer, it is the substratum of the whole universe along with its tremendous energy display of energy. But it is right, she is sitting in our heart, associated with all the Panchabhutas, all the elements of our being. Next. Aranyor nihito jata veda.
Aranyor nihito jata veda.
Garbhaiva subrito garbhini bhihi.
Garbhaiva subrito garbhini bhihi.
Aranyor nihito jata veda.
Aranyor nihito jata veda.
Garbhaiva subrito garbhini bhihi.
Garbhaiva subrito garbhini bhihi.
Dive dive idyo.
Dive diva ijyo.
Jagrivadbhir havishmadbhihi.
Jagrivadbhir havishmadbhihi.
Manushye-bhiragnihi.
Manushye-bhiragnihi.
Etadvai tat.
Etadvai tat.
Aranyor nihito jata veda.
Aranyor nihito jata veda.
Garbhaiva subrito garbhini bhihi.
Garbhaiva subrito garbhini bhihi.
Dive diva idyo jagrivadbhir havishmadbhihi.
Dive diva idyo jagrivadbhir havishmabhihi.
Manushye-bhiragnihi.
Manushye-bhiragnihi.
Etadvai tat.
Etadvai tat.
Now he has taken over from the Hiranyagarbha, then the Shakti, Parashakti, now to the Yajnika and all, Yaga. The example is of the Yaga. That you are performing the Yaga, etc. There you are using the Uttararani and Adhararani. There is two pieces of wood. One is bottom, another is the top. And we rub the two and take, that is the how we light the fire in the Homakunda. Rub. That is not the fire there within. We are not seeing the fire. But when you rub, the fire comes out. So it was hiding inside. Exactly like that the real fire hides in our body. It is spread all over the body. It is everywhere, it is there. By our sadhana, when we rub it, by our buddhi, sukshma buddhi, we rub it, the fire blazes forth. Then you have to put all the havish there, all your sadhana offering, everything has to be done there. All finally is the Purna Ahuti. Is it not so? Those who have done the Vishnu Sahasranama, they know. After we offer to the lamp and all, finally how do we finish the program? With Purna Ahuti. This Purna Ahuti represents the offering of the ego. Until you offer the ego, never it will be Purna. We become Purna by offering our smallness. Are you able to follow? When we offer our smallness, we become Purna, we become infinite. So, the ultimate offering in the yaga is the Purna Ahuti. We are representing ritually by putting rice, putting gold, silver, whatever we use, everything. By that, what do we mean? All the worldliness we have, all the possessiveness we have, we are putting small gold so that we don't lose much. We are putting a kela which is small, which will sell the market. They will say, Dada, Pujor Kala. In Bengal it is there, Durga Puja or any puja. Pujor Kala is a special. That for puja, the kelas are special because nobody will eat them. Small kelas. So that you can offer many number of kelas. That all corruptions are there everywhere. So, actually we are supposed to offer our ego in Purnahuti after everything is done. And before that we have to preserve. When if the lakdi gets wet, then the fire will not burn. Our lakdis are all wet. Wet by what? Desire. By clinging. Putra, putri, grandputri. उसके बाद भी और एक जनरेशन आ गया तो और भी अच्छा. हम अभी ना फोटोग्राफ लिए है 7 जनरेशन एक साथ. So great about it. 7 जनरेशन एक साथ. ठीक है, 7 जनरेशन something to be proud of. It's okay. But that means the clinging is also, you will never be able to take away the stranglehold segment. So this is how the fire has to be preserved. It should not get wet. It has to be, lot of care has to be taken so that the fire remains. When we rub it, the fire should come out. Otherwise you will not be able to perform the yajna. They have taken another example there, that how do you preserve? Like a garbha iva garbhini bhihi. A pregnant woman, whatever she is doing, all the household work throughout the day, where is her mind? See, everything she is doing, all the household work she is doing, but she will not take wrong food during that period, if she is intelligent. Nowadays people take wrong food also. But a pregnant woman is not supposed to take wrong food, because that will harm or hurt the child, the bhruna, the embryo. So, as carefully throughout her day, she thinks of the fetus inside and carefully selects her all work. She will not do anything so that miscarriage is had. She will not eat anything which will cause miscarriage. She will not take medicines also which will cause miscarriage also, which will be giving rise to a non-normal birth. Say, autistic child or any of that kind should not happen. It is all the Garbhini is careful about it. More and more she is careful, the better. So as all she is doing, but her mind is is always oriented towards that. This is what we call the dhyana mukhinata in interactional sadhana. Interactional sadhana means making all our interactions a spiritual worship or spiritual sadhana. How do you do it? Whatever you are doing, you are talking to people, you are working anywhere, or not that. More important is whatever you are thinking, because mind is going on throughout the day. What are the thoughts? What are the ideals the mind is hosting? Constantly, dhyana mukhinata means whatever we are attempting in dhyana, that our real identity we want to discover, that goal will remain lit like a cynosure, like the constant dhruvatara in the mind. Whatever we are doing, that should remain lit. Do you understand? So the mind is always oriented towards the goal. Whether you are meditating or not meditating, you are interacting. Through all interactions also, mind is oriented towards the ultimate goal. That is called dhyana mukhinata. Like that, the Garbhini, whatever she does, her mind is always towards the protection and welfare of the fetus. Dive dive idyo. Actually, it is dive dive, but because it is followed by e, it has become dive diva idyo. Jagrivadvir havishmadvir manushye agnihi. That this Agni, which is worshipped everywhere by all, by the Jagrivadbhir, who are always aware of it, by the Havishmadbhir, those who are doing yaga, etc., they also worship this Agni, but they should know that this Agni is right within the heart. That is the real Agni, not in the Homakunda. Homakunda is only a vehicle, but through that we have to think of our real Agni inside. Manushye viragnihi, that everywhere, this actually the prana or the Hiranyagarbha is referred to as fire also. That is the fire of life, that is the flame. Even consciousness we always compare with the fire. Etadvaita, that fire you are, Nachiketa, which is untouched by anything of your life. So will not the Atma remain? And what Atma remains? That is the unlimited, unaffected by anything. So your Atma will remain separately from others? No. The Atma we are talking about, it is not segregated by anything in the world. It is one, uniform, universal. Not only that, more than that, it is transcendental. It is not an object. It is neither an subject also. It is beyond subject-object duality. Etad vai tat.